Hello, hello, Patreon friends. Hello. Thank you for joining me here for this financial self-mastery mini lab, mini workshop. This is something that we started over on YouTube. Um, and I do have an introductory video over there that I can link to this collection. My nose is itchy. But we are going to, this month, for the next couple, 2 to 3 weeks in Patreon, this is going to be our mini lab for the month of November. And I'm going to try to start having some sort of little teaching series or lab or workshop, every 30 to 45 days or so. We'll see how often, but at least with the intention of like every week or every couple of weeks putting out, something that's a collection of stuff that you can use as resources. And I still feel like, well, especially now I'm recording this in November 2024, we have, the holidays coming up. It's all about, well, I don't know, it's not in the 3D world, it's all about, spending and buying stuff for decorating and all that, and buying gifts and so forth. And I think I just want to touch on, as bringers of the light, because that's why you'll be partaking of this, and the bringers of the light tiers and above, as light warriors and light workers and spiritual workers now on the planet. We've got some opportunities to rise up with the astrology that's changing, with Pluto moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius on Tuesday, November the 19th, 2024. This teaching is timeless whenever you find it, but I think there's some opportunities to have some like financial fresh starts. And so this is where I wanted to take our first mini lab. So before I go any further, I'm activating the heart, activating the crown, and on up to the divine connections as I wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, and a host of TLC for the soul guides who join us here. I have our little conduit. This is our Archangel Ariel conduit, a little doll. She right now has been sitting at the front door of my house as I walk in. So I thought I'd bring her along, since she helps us all with money magic and divine resources and all the I guess subject matter we want to talk about for today. So I did have a little channeling I wanted to read that I did, and what I'm going to do is we'll probably have 2 or 3 videos in this series, and then we will have, at the end, I'll make a printable PDF for you with some of the channeling, some guidance, the homework, something you can use as a resource if you need it moving forward. All right. So the introduction is, let's make a deal. For the next 3 weeks, let's decide to learn and unlearn concepts we've previously believed about our finances. Let's start fresh and decide that from this workshop forward, we're going to allow ourselves to receive exactly what we need to become masters of our money. In doing so, we'll work together to clear karma around your finances and to build a spiritual connection to the energy of money. Money is not our master. We use the tools and guidance provided, as well as the healing and information herein, to create a financial fresh start that can last us from this lifetime and beyond. As the soul carries karma throughout lifetimes, karma around finances can affect you now based on things from your past lives, as well as anything you've done in this life to consciously or unconsciously affect your finances and those of others. Stick with this through the entire workshop, and we'll give you practical tools, healing, downloads, and fresh insights into how you can make money your ally. So let's see where the guides want us to focus this particular mini lab session. Okay, so a couple of other little tidbits here before we get into the lesson or whatever the channeling is going to be about. I've gathered a divine resources team of guides, and so I invite you to do the same. Working with us collectively here, no matter when you are, doing this. We've got Archangel Ariel, so this is our conduit for Archangel Ariel. To me, Archangel Ariel is like the archangel of, I call it divine resources and wealth and investing and anything having to do with finances. I feel like Archangel Ariel is very helpful there. We've got Goddess Lakshmi. We work with her a lot with manifesting. Archangel Haniel, about trusting our intuition, all about the intuitive yin energy of finances, I guess. We have Archangel Chamuel. For me, he's the angel of divine soul partnerships and our relationship with ourselves, our self-love, our self-care, our self-mastery, being our own best friend, being our own true love. And we'll see how these guides want to interact with us through this mini lab. And then I also brought in, we've got Lord Ganesh coming in as well. And then some of my TLC for the soul guides from my personal collection. I'm actually wearing them today. We've got Tilia. She is a orange creamsicle fae. We've got Anor. He's an elven djinn. And I've got Hashani. She's a golden enlightenment mermaid. So I invite you to, as you go throughout this, because the goal here is to get insights, get you going on a financial fresh start, where no matter where you are with your finances, whether you're starting from ground zero and you feel like you really want to, build, or whether you've already built and you're like, what's next level for me, or how can I take this, even higher or how can I better understand the spirituality-based concepts behind my finances, because there's actually more than you might realize. Also, some touchstones for this. I would take some time, and maybe we should do a little vision quest around what this workshop means for you. What is your team, your guides, your higher self wanting you to get out of this? Because you were brought here for a reason. You were brought to this workshop, maybe just out of curiosity, maybe that you've done a bunch of these before, but you're like, maybe there's something new in here that I haven't heard before. Or maybe, like I said, you don't have a lot of knowledge around some of the more advanced spiritual concepts behind, money and finances, and you're wanting to up your game and increase your knowledge levels. Some touchstones too, I think doing as you're guided. I would consider setting up like a little altar space or something for this mini lab as we go throughout it. Maybe a crystal grid, or getting some of your favorite crystals that you typically, or that you can maybe reprogram to help you work with your finances. Because I do find with some of these, so with these, when I'm pointing to my necklace, these are my personal guides that I got through Spirit Guide Auction many years ago. And they've all been by the person that did the auction. I have quite a few, like 30 or 40 of these. They've all been, some of their energy has all been bound kind of to these little, beads and crystals and so forth, and pendants and all that. Some sort of touchstones to remind you, but specifically like Tilia, the orange creamsicle face, she always helps me get a lot accomplished. She helps me remember, keeping things balanced in terms of maybe overspending or, things like that. Same thing with Elvin Jin. I think he's there to help manifest, but they balance each other well, because we just don't want to manifest. To me, I think when people think about finances and manifesting, they think about, we want more finances, right? But also all the things I can get when I have more finances. And it's there's a balance there behind, the concepts of paying yourself first, charitable giving, giving back through service, divine service, or tithing. And then having, maybe what's left over from that as, this budget or resource pool. I like the word resource pool, but budget sounds restrictive for some reason. Like resource pool that you have for yourself for these other extraneous things that you want. Because I was thinking the other day, I was like, if my finances were where I really wanted them to be, that would mean I would have a lot of money for, traveling and buying anything that I wanted within reason. I don't have like huge, huge things with like buying stuff, but, I do have some things where I'm like, oh, I like to collect tarot decks. And it's like, well, if I had, a lot of extra resource pool money, would I always want to be buying every tarot deck that I saw? Because every time I see a certain one, I'm like, oh, that one, that one, that one. Do I want to be like some of the people I see, on YouTube that are like, I have 600 tarot decks? I'm like, no, I don't want to be like that. I tend to want to be more of like a minimalist. I don't like to like overcrowd my energy fields with too much stuff. And so I think some of these guides can help us find a balance. And I think we are going to do some healing here too around like impulsivity around spending, because I've been working really hard on that with this particular concept, like, oh, tarot decks, do I need them all? And so I've been doing a lot of like, looking and like really wanting a deck, and the parts of manifesting, like put it in my cart and holding it there, and then I'll make myself like pull back and not buy it. And so I've been doing that practice quite a bit lately, and kind of releasing some of the emotional attachment to wanting some of these things so badly. Why do I want them so badly? Sometimes for these I want to share them with you guys too, and they're like tools of the trade. But again, finding a balance. So maybe yours is something else. There's a channel I like to watch on YouTube, and the other day, what she does is the girl goes to like all the theme parks in her area, and that's her channel is just built around going on road trips and documenting the theme park changes at Disney and Orlando and all this. But she's like, oh, I have way too many t-shirts. Like every time there's a new Disney t-shirt, or the season changes and now it's Disney Christmas, she's like, oh, I'm buying this and that. I really shouldn't be buying this, but I have too many of these shirts. And I'm like, okay, so I feel like the guides want to work with this on that a little bit too, like the emotional attachment to these things as like touchstones that we feel like maybe we need to have them for whatever reason, and what's the balance we can find there. Because ultimately, I think what we're all trying to get to, I know personally is, in addition to having all this extra resource pool to do and go and have the things that we want, there's also this desire to kind of go back, I feel like, to the way things were maybe lifetimes ago, maybe in the aristocracy of things where, there was this kingdom and there was plentiful resources, and we had enough for ourselves, we had enough to give to others as like charitable giving and helping, and we had enough to invest and set aside so that future generations would also benefit from this as well, meaning our family members or whoever you felt like, when you leave this earthly body in this lifetime, would benefit from, from that. Like a legacy, an ancestral wealth. And that doesn't just have to be money, right? Your homestead or whatever. I feel like those of us that are following more of like a divine feminine path, and you don't have to be a female gendered person to do that. It's more of the path of like yin and the Tao and the new Lemurian path. I feel like we are getting back to this more like quote unquote like tribal way of being, where we have this ancestral home, I'll call it that, and it's a home where your family is all there, and there's space for everybody that if you wanted them to live on your land or whatever, they would, like the old times, right? And then you have like this, the wealth is in the land and your home, and you have enough to pass on to your heirs, and they don't have to always, and they're doing their thing too, but that there's always this legacy of giving, no matter in what way. Maybe that doesn't resonate with you and you have some other way, like, oh, I would give all my resources to some charitable contribution or save the earth or whatever. So I'm just putting these ideas out there, but we can't get there unless we start somewhere. And so this starting somewhere is understanding some of these spirituality-based concepts around maybe how to get there and maybe why we haven't been able to quite get there yet. And so with this workshop, I hope we'll touch on some of those concepts and leave you with these videos and these teachings as a legacy and as a touchstone for you to be able to go back and focus on them, as you need them, and use them as you need them, like a resource library. I did pull 2 cards. I had to take a quick little break in between the intro and this to tend to something, and I was like, well, what do you want us to focus on right now as we're introducing this workshop? And the 2 cards that came out were the Navajo Wind Talkers, which is a group of indigenous tribal elders that I work with through light language. And that is, this is from my deck, Shaman's Drum. This is Love is Always the Answer. And Canoe, new adventures await you and are ready for you to take charge of them. So I feel like that too, I also feel like the answer to some of this is many of you watching this, you may have a 9-to-5, quote unquote, 3D job, or you may have a series of little jobs. Maybe you are your own entrepreneur, your own small business person or business person, however you want to look at this. And I feel like one of the things too is like multiple resource streams, because as I'm talking about leaving a legacy, these videos, Patreon, all the teachings we're doing at TLC for the Soul that are part of our YouTube channel and our podcast. And, we've been here 7 years as TLC for the Soul, and we have, 900 shows now or whatever. But in addition to that, I create the little oracle decks. I've got, the merch that I've got over on, right now it's over on Redbubble. I've got all my books that I'm working with. So I feel like we're guided, to use our spiritual gifts to create for us what's called like multiple income streams, and yours may be something different, and maybe you're already working on those things, but where we aren't just doing like one job, we're doing a lot of things that we love, and those in turn are bringing us the resources that we need, be it, clients equals money, or people wanting your stuff or whatever equals income. And the answer, whenever we ask about this for the guides, is always, follow your heart, do what you love. And what you love is part of what's ingrained in part of your Akashic record lives in your heart space. And that's why you always hear people say, like, look to your heart, look within your heart. Your Akashic record, or your part of your little soul blueprint of what you came here in this lifetime to do, is tied to your heart space. So I think, there's many takeaways that we could have with this in terms of the more you give, the more you receive. And that's really, when you look at the energy of resources, it's really at a higher level all about reciprocity. You give some, you receive some, right? You give something, you receive something back. In terms of the energy world, the law of karma and the law of cause and effect. You put something out there of a particular energy field, and you get that similar energy back towards you, right? You put something out there for people that you want people to enjoy or work with, or whatever your craft is, and typically you get something in return, right? You get paid for it. Maybe you get paid in money. Maybe you don't always get paid in money. Maybe Spirit has you on some sort of other system at the moment that's not, monetary resources. Maybe it's more like a barter exchange system where you do something and then you get paid in a different way, indirectly, maybe through money. There's so many different ways that you're going to interact with this energy because it's different for each one of you based on karmic lessons, based on things you're learning, based on your goals in life too. So there's also some healing we need to work on. We need to work on strengthening multiple chakras for this as well. Our root chakra specifically is the one that helps us manifest and bring things in. Our solar plexus gives us like the drive, the divine willpower to take action. And you know, the crown and the third eye area and the Ajna chakra, the divine willpower center right here, help us envision what we want and then make a plan of action and then take action on that. So if any of those areas are blocked, then you're not going to be seeing the results that you're wanting to see, either because there's obstacles in your way that are keeping you from taking action or keeping you from receiving, or there's things that have to be karmically balanced maybe before you can receive certain things. So let me just pause here and see. Okay, so my guides are saying this is kind of the introduction to all the work we're going to be doing. And I'm going to come back in the next video and we're going to do some healing and a lesson around karmic rebalancing. And so at that point, so in the meantime, your homework would be to, number one, get you a touchstone for this work. And like I said, build your little altar space, build you a little grid with the intention of, you know, learning something new, getting the healing that you need, and for this financial fresh start. I feel like this is very timely and very important right now. And then I will post this out there and we'll see what else they want me to do in between videos. But when I come back, it looks like the next one is going to be a healing video and a lesson. And we'll be doing some shamanic extractions in the chakras, working with the divine light energies to tap into your karmic bank balances and see what may be holding you back there that you need to work on. You may have some homework you need to do to rebalance any negative karma around your finances. So until then, you know, we will see you again in the next video of this financial self-mastery course. And I thank you so much for joining me here. Take care.